telepathically instead of just words that we're passing back and forth and those kind of things. It's kind of like a telepathic communication that's happening, that we're participating in, and we're our sensitivity to that is increasing, and and all of us are getting better at it every day.
In every way.
Yeah.
Every way.
Every day. Yeah, every day.
Every day, every way. Yes.
Right. And so the thing is, for me, it's been an exercise of kind of a reassurance and a trust that my skills in that way are improving, are getting better, and part of it is getting out of the way so that other people can experience that same kind of learning and growth for themselves. And what I'm trying to say here now is that I'm observing that in in all of you who are here today, but I've observed that in every single one of you. I've observed growth that way. Yeah, exactly. And in those initial rants that we had, or that initial brain chatter that we had the first time we came into this room, is dissipating for each and every one of us. And we're getting so that we can deeper listen and play with the deeper meanings that aren't communicated with the words. And holy crap, is that valuable.
Yeah, it's like Pascal's word yesterday morning. Pascal's word for yesterday was wisdom.
Yes.
And when we ask for wisdom, it will be given. And honestly, this is what I feel, that it's so enlightening, because when he also mentioned about Joe's music and song, and mentioned in the chat box, I thought it was very, very kind and truthful, because when you acknowledge somebody's gifts, and you can express it in a way of gratitude and a thankfulness, I can agree with him, because especially with people that are heart-centered and want to grow and open, and even when there is things that is resistance, because it's going to be there, but it's just the willingness of just in everywhere. It's just beautiful. It's literally has occupied my whole being now. Way I talk, the way I think, the way I feel, the way I act, the way I do things. It's so inspiring. Like, I'm even inspiring myself. Like, I don't need. I'm inspired because this is my reflection of who and what I have in my life. All of a sudden you're sitting by yourself, and you figure, or on many, many nights, maybe many weekends. It's not a choice. It was a choice that I made. But in the same time, I'm so grateful that I made these choices, because this is what I've reaped. This is what I've sowed for so many years. And now I'm just reaping what I've sowed. Honestly, this is, and so when it becomes, for me in the beginning, it was so overwhelming, it was so like, oh my God, like, wow, like they really get me, or they listen, or something comes up and I go, oh, this resonates. And it's so like, wow, it's
that's the brain chatter I was talking about, right?
It's just amazing. And to have one yes, it's just to have one yes. You don't need many yeses, it's so like yes, and it's a beautiful place to be. It really is. And I'm speaking as a conscious creator now, as being in a creative orientation, just going forward and seeking it, and knowing all those other sabotage things that you thought you couldn't fail, you couldn't make mistakes. What do people think about you? What happens, you have to be vulnerable. And the vulnerability that I have experienced, that I have really stuck out my head here, because now I understand that it's strength. It's actually strength. It's not weakness. But it still takes a lot of humility, of a person to humble.
Yeah, it's inner strength.
It's really yeah. So yeah, it's been very, very interesting and very rewarding for me.
If I may, as I see it, what's happening is that your super conscious is doing fine tuning on your communication skills.
And I think when Pascal said yesterday about Ali, there's a lot of things that I'm just talking on what he said, but nothing personal, just giving understanding, where there was a lot of things that was that's coming out that was a long time that was festing, and that's what I felt with myself when he said that, because this is what happens when you carry it in bodily, like you just also said it a couple of days ago, that you finally have released it, but you've carried it for years, but your body has a remembrance, your body remembers. And that's why when things are triggering, that's why when things happen, the body remembers. And that's why it's not even the event, it's something that is actually happening years back as a child, or what you experience as a teenager, whatever, whenever. That's the reaction that you're getting. And that is when you don't take it personally. This is a real lesson. You don't take it personally. You can actually see when you observe and go, okay, what is really the issue here? That's like deep listening. Like what is really that is really troubling you, yeah. Because you can see the hurt. It's hurt that's come out. It's hurt.
Yeah, but that hurt is based on memory.
Yes.
But it's based on this life memory. Yes. It's not based on your soul memory. Yes.
So as I'm listening to you guys, what I think you guys are trying to demonstrate is energy is communication. And the more we're clearing, like that we're not in that guilt and shame, and that we're not in these low vibration, we're clearing the channel, so the energy goes through a lot easier, meaning the communication is a lot easier. So when you're saying like, yeah, I'm getting more insight in that, so like that means like now your channel is a lot clearer, and then like you can get these higher vibration or communication. So, and the more we're like shining lights on, our little patterns and whatnot, then that's how we can communicate better. So yeah, that's how I see it.
Yeah, this one just came to me, so I'm going to throw it out there for all of us. It's the difference between communicating with the person and communicating with the relationship with the person. They're very different. Because communicating with a person is one-on-one, but communicating with the relationship is communicating with the reality that exists between you two.
Can you go a little bit deeper?
Yeah, okay. So we've said this before too. What we realized when we started doing this work is when two of us communicated together, it was all, you know, when we created a relationship, we communicated together and all that kind of thing. It was very powerful. But what we didn't realize is that we added a third person, and it was almost like there was another entity that was created. There was an organism that showed up that had a life of its own. It was a combination energetic of all the people that were involved, and it was a separate energy. That kind of stuff. That's that's what I'm talking about. So we're communicating with each other, but we're also communicating with the organism that we're creating.
That's why listening is so important.
Yes, yeah,
That's why
exactly.
listening, because you can see the reality of that person, where that person is living and
Right,
being.
right. But that's also why silence is important,
So much importance, yeah.
is because our tendency as human beings is to fill the empty space with words. And a lot of time those words are kind of empty because there's not really any meaning in them. They're just
beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's beautiful.
You know, that's why I tend to speak in not in sentences, but in phrases.
That's what Christ did.
What's that?
That's how Christ spoke. How he brought things in phrases and metaphors.
Yeah.
And stories.
Yeah.
That people could, you know, understand.
Well, it simplifies everything, and it
it's
portrays
everybody's
meaning, right?
language. Everybody's language.
Yeah.
That's why music, as Joe sang, music is a universal language. Everybody understands that. Everybody understands it. You don't have to figure it out. It's just that's what's so beautiful about communication. To really get to a skill to master it, that everybody can hear.
Yeah, because growing up, like back home, like I couldn't speak English, I couldn't understand English. So listening music, I wasn't listening to the lyrics, I was just listening to the rhythm. And if the rhythm was good, then the music was good for me. But I never heard the lyrics until, like, you know, I move out west, and then I start to like looking at the lyrics. Like I could have done that, but you know, it wasn't my priority at the time, right? But you go in the bar and stuff, and you just like hear the rhythm, and you just like dance to it. But they might have said like, "You're an asshole," and like, "I don't want you in my life," and then you're like, yeah, right? Like, so
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, music universal. Like sometimes I listen like Korean, you know, and like the K-pop stuff, and then it sound good. I don't know what they're saying, but it sound good, right? So
yeah, music just helps you absorb the language. Without having to be conscious about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's another side that I'm realizing from this too, is that already, for some reason or other, I already had the capability to absorb stuff without having to actually concentrate on it. And as I give up the need to actually concentrate on things, it comes thicker and faster, and it synthesizes by itself internally. Like I don't have to cognitively process what I hear anymore. In fact, it's better if I don't.
getting out of your way.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. It takes your
Totally
limited brain out of the loop.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
totally that.
Yep. Yep.
Pure, pure essence of vessel there.
Yep. Yep.
Morning,
Like
Jared.
it's a real challenge for me to not take notes.
But it's a choice that you're choosing now, so that's okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that makes a huge difference too. But what's interesting is during my lifetime, I mastered that way of taking in information.
Mm. Mm. Oh,
But the problem was all I was given was information. I wasn't really given meaning. Like the stuff I was taught in school was information.
yeah, but I think that's the three creations that we have: to germination, stimulation, and then completion.
Well,
We have
yeah.
to start, you know,
Yeah.
and then doing it and then being it. I mean, that's basically.
You can't do it by studying, is my point.
You can't, yeah. Oh, right. Yeah, absolute.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. Absolutely.
Mm. So I'm in the book, The Man Who Tapped the Secrets of the Universe by Glenn Clark, talking about Walter Russell, who founded the hydrogen bomb,
Yep.
the atomic bomb, and many other things. He said, to state it generally, no expression of anything is that which it expresses.
Mm.
So no expression of anything is that which it expresses. So the play is not the playwright. The paint is not the picture. The word's not the poem, nor is the poem the poet. Likewise, creation is not the creator. Creation is but the thinking of the creator. And even the thinking of the creator is not the creator. It is but his or hers extension, imaging, expression of all knowledge, all power, and all presence. And we do this same with when we think of our bodies as our real selves. But really, our bodies are just a product of our imaging.
Mm-hmm.
We're motivated by the thought waves which spring from our consciousness.
Wow.
And he says, like this lady asked him if it would be very difficult to learn to be a great sculptor. And he says, no, madam, it is not difficult. It's very simple. All you need to do is buy a block of marble and knock off what you don't want.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, so how does one chip off the marble that doesn't belong? In his words, as what we are beings, what do we do is how do we step down the eternal thought to its external form? See that in the marble, in the block of marble?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing.
Mm-hmm.
How do we step down the eternal thought to its external form, the invisible to visible? He says that comes about through 5 things. 1, humility. 2, reverence, inspiration, deep purpose, and joy.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just thinking about the diamonds, yeah.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Because I watched I listened the Sunday call, and when you guys talk about like chipping away like the diamond, like it's flat, like you won't even notice it until like you really crack it. And, yeah, that's the image I had. So yeah, go on, Jesse.
Thanks, Pascal. That's all. I'm complete with that.
So what's that book called?
The Man Who Tapped the Secrets of the Universe by Glenn Clark. A real little book, jam-packed, 1940s or so.
It's another way of saying what I just said, you know, as we continue to interact this way with each other, we're learning or we're relearning how to create like that.
Could you
So
just
why
repeat that?
don't we?
Do you know the last thing you said about what you need to be able to tap into this humility, cheerfulness? What were them things you said?
From the book, Joe?
Yeah.
He's five. He lays out 5 things of how would we step down. Really, how do we take this conscious thought that we have, this idea, and bring it into creation, into form? How do we find the diamond, cut it, and shape it? Yeah. And he says the 5 things is humility, reverence, inspiration, deep purpose, and joy.
Wow. Oh my God, yeah. That deep purpose.
No great man has ever wisecracked his way into greatness. Until one learns to lose oneself, he cannot find himself.
Wow.
Yes.
No one can.
Wow.
No one can multiply himself by himself. He must first divide himself and give himself to the service of all, thus placing himself within all others through acts of thoughtfulness and service.
Oh, wow.
One must not be the part, one must be the whole.
Oof. Oh, he's sending chills through me.
That's just a taste of humility, as he puts it there.
Wow, I love that.
You can't be the whole if you hold on to separateness.
Oof. Wow.
Oh, my word for the day is trust.
Yeah, trust. Whenever I think trust, I notice like my tummy like instantaneously relaxed, like I've been holding tension there. And just like it just kind of I become aware of where I'm slightly holding tension. So I love trust. I love to fall into trust.
What do we trust others to do?
The best that they can. I can trust everyone to do
To give them their truth.
we can trust that everybody's got that truth, yeah. They can all access it.
To let people be themselves. That's trust.
Yeah. Loving people as they are.
Why do we try and get them?
From
Why do we what?
So why do we try to, quote, get them, catch them, find them, judge them?
If you judge yourself. That's just a reflection. Everything's a reflection of you. You're harsh on yourself, you're critical, you're your worst enemy, you're everything that you're projecting out to others. And when you see others, that's where you look at yourself and go, that's why it's so uncomfortable. That's where jealousy comes in too. It's just a blocked desire. Oh, they got that and I haven't got that. So let's just like whatever. Say that's not fair. But it's the same with judgment. Judge others and you'll be judged. Be very careful how you judge others. Be very careful how you treat others. Very careful. I'm not saying you have to be perfect because we're not perfect. We make our mistakes. Obviously, we're not going to always repeat on that. We know that. But as long as you're in this body, we're going to make mistakes. We're going to mess up. So, okay. So we're going to punish ourselves for the rest of our lives? No, we're going to learn from it. But that is when don't look at the plank in somebody's eye and you're looking at the splinter in your own eye. Getting out of your way, like Craig says. Once you get out of your way, you allow it to flow. You can then see for what it is and what's coming up. You don't trust people because you don't trust yourself.
You can only trust people as much as you trust yourself.
Absolutely. You can only love people if you love yourself.
It's all a reflection.
You can only give to people if you can give it to yourself. It's the same with letting go of the grief. It's the same of going with the shame. It's a letting go of the unforgiveness. It's a letting go of what was and what should have been and how it should have gone. It is now to say, what am I going to choose? Back to the choices. What are you choosing? Where are you putting your power? Where are you focusing?
So much peace in that choice. What do you choose? Holding on to it, letting it go. All in the choice. And quieting that chatter mind, the ego, the judger, all of those negatives that are always there. Wow. I'm honored with how little is there. And it's just what keeps laying there is what's the choice? It's a choose, because it's always a choose forward or hang on to the past. And when we hang on to the past, we keep creating the shit. It's like truth. It's like truth. Truth is such a beautiful yet misused word.
Truth is sexy.
What was that, Nikki?
Truth is sexy.
Truth is sexy.
Truth is sexy.
Mhm. Well, it's like the truth and then the truth. It's like the truth is truth is what is, how it went. That was the truth. That is the truth.
Can we handle the truth?
No, we can't. That's why we have these. This is why we're here. This is why we bring everybody into understanding that the truth, as you continue in your truth, it will set you eventually free. But that is when you get to the place where you can give people the benefit of the doubt in allowing them to know, what is your reality? Where are you? What are you feeling in your reality? Because when you give that understanding for somebody, that's when they really get seen and saying, wow, I can see now my truth. I can be truthful. At least I can be truthful. That's the beginning. Be your truth. Speak your truth. Know your truth. What is for you is not for somebody else. And that is where polarity, that's where we got to know, happy, sad, good is bad, that kind of knowing. Yeah. The logical things. Logical.
Yeah, it's just a perception, right?
Oh, it is. It is all a story, a filter, a view. And truth is that too.
That's the problem with past referencing. And try to move forward from past referencing is that there's a bias to it. There's a perception bias in it.
Is there a structure to it too?
Always, always.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't know what you saw with it, but tell me from the structure of truth you see.
Well, I've just seen like the past and the present being the structure rather than the present and the future.
Yeah, well, great observation, man. So which way is the tension?
Well, when it's in the past, it's pulling us back to the past, isn't it?
Yep, same situations again, right? Every time.
So we're either pulled to the past or the future.
Because the now is the only one that moves.
My word for the day is innocence. That's my word for the day. Because I'm experiencing everything like I'm just seeing it for hearing it and feeling it for the first time. And even if I come into this understanding of this reality, I can now just be. In nothing. Yep. Innocence. I don't have to make any sense of it. It's singing, it's flowing, it's good intentions, it's not I, die, thee, though, better than thee, die, though. No, no, no. I'm in my way. Just going along life. Don't need to agree, don't need to disagree. Just being me, my buzzy bee, going from flower to flower. Sweet as honey, baby. And I take a spoon of it every night before I go to bed because it makes you sleep better. Just for that note. Okay, thanks.
Mm.
Well, it's perfect food, right? Honey is perfect food. It's got as much as glucose as fructose, so it doesn't like raise your blood sugar. Just like some like fruits. Right? So it's a perfect food. It's well balanced. And it keeps you asleep. That's what I heard, like with honey.
Oh, absolutely. Because it doesn't spike your insulin. So what's nice about that is with sugar, cane sugar, and it's not to say you can't have sugar, but the sugar actually spikes the insulin. It goes straight into the cells and it blocks it. And this is why a lot of people get hungrier and they want to eat more of it. And that's where, you know, basically that's what it is, sugar addiction or whatever we people have. And it's something that, yeah, we get bombarded every corner here in New York. Sugar, sugar, just in your face, sugar, 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 sugar. You know, I see early in the mornings, no judgment. I'm not judging. I'm just bringing my opinion. Early in the mornings, they're giving donuts to their children, like full-on donuts with a full-on frosty. Early in the mornings, they're giving donuts, yeah? I mean, it's like sugar craze. It's the children, it's like people are like, you know, yeah, there's a time to eat sugar, you know, when I say, you know, but it's like, yeah, first thing in the morning, you're eating like a whole full-on donut. I mean, come on now. And you want to know why your insulin spiked up and you can't relax. And then you want more of it. It's the same as a negative thought. You have a negative thought, you think about it, and then you keep thinking about it. And then it just from there, it just escalates. And then the whole day, you're thinking about the same and nothing's moved. You sabotaged yourself. You sabotage. And that's what it happens. That's what happens.
At which point is locked in.
It's locked in.
Yeah, it becomes a habit, right?
And it is a habit because your habits create your character. Your habits create your character. That's when you can change by your habits. Repetition of seeing yourself. And then it just becomes who you are. You don't think about it. It's just automatically. It's like going in a car when you're 16 years old. And the driver, you know, I took car lessons. I didn't want to be taught by my father. That was one thing. There's no way I don't think I would have survived. He just didn't have patience for that. And I took car lessons, yeah. And
That's
this driver.
weird. Hold on, that's weird. You don't have patience. You don't have patience to teach someone how to drive.
No, he didn't have patience. No, no, I saw him with my elder sister. He almost throttled her in the car. No, honestly. I thought, no, that's not going to happen to me. I saw that. And she came home crying every time after a car lesson, she bawling her eyes out, and it was just too much. It was too much. And not only that, it's nothing on my dad. It's just that he just didn't have patience. So it was really scary because he didn't know how to also deal with the emotions. So hands would fly. I mean, you'll be behind the steering wheel and you'll be shouting at you, screaming, and maybe just like hit you over the head, you know? Like, I mean, hello there. It's like, are you kidding me? It was frightening. It was such a frightening experience. So I saw this beforehand. I said, no, I've witnessed that. I'm not going down that path. So I took a teacher. Yeah. And why I say that, because he came into the car with me we drive on the right-hand side in South Africa. Here in America, they drive on the left-hand side. So I had to learn again to drive on the left-hand side. So I took another teacher, in America, to teach me how to, help me, pass my exam to drive on the left-hand side. And the reason for that, it's so nice when you get into a car and the person obviously is aware that I don't know how to drive on the left-hand side. But you know what he said to me that got me to drive on the left-hand side? He said one thing. He said, "You from South Africa?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Okay. In America, we drive on the left-hand side, not on the right." I said, "Yes." He said, "Just remember that." I said, "Okay. We drive on the left-hand side. South Africa drives on the right-hand side. You get that?" I said, "Yes." He says, "Now let's go." Start the car. And I just started the car. And the thing is, I learned in South Africa how to do a clutch. The clutch, the first, second, third, fourth, fifth gear. Yeah, I learned clutch. But in America, I had to do automatic. I had to learn automatic. Yeah, that was quite different. And so there you go. So what I'm saying is, basically, the habit of doing something correct first is very important, because a lot of times we don't get taught doing it correctly. And now we're getting taught how to do it correctly. That's what it is. It's just getting taught and steering the way that we always used to drive, but now we get to know that we're the driver of our own vehicle, that's our own body, and that we have what it takes to do it, to be it.
I was just thinking the patterns, the patterns of how they approached it differently, and then I sit with it. I see it too. Right? It's my expectations that people are learning and they should be at a different level. Again, just my expectations, then my patterns show up, then my reactions, right, are there, and usually and they can turn out either way it turns out, it's always a lesson. It's just how we orient to it.
Hey, Joe, are you in the tub again?
Oh, shit, have I got my mic on?
Yeah, you do.
I thought I was muted, man.
Love you, bro.
It's all good, man. All good.
At least I ain't got the camera on there.
Yeah, that's right, man. That's right.
I'm just chilling with you all in the bath. Is that all right?
Hey, man. All good. All good. I'm sitting next to my heater, so.
Get all your ducks in a row, Joe. Get all your ducks in a row. Get your ducks in a row. But about humbleness that I love? Humbleness, humility. Like, it's just a beautiful thing to be in when you can humble yourself. It's anything of lowering yourself, because everything has a vibration. Even the walls have vibration. Everything has vibration. It's just a beautiful thing. And I think when you can really humble yourself and know that where you were, and then you can hear somebody else, and understand and resonate and give them that understanding of space, even if it's reading out of a book or something that you experience. It's a humble experience, it's a beautiful, humble experience. And I think this is where I feel where I am in my life. It's just everything is just very humble and accepting. And yeah.
I was watching this really good podcast, and this guy was talking about judgment, and he was saying, as soon as we judge, we're cutting ourselves off from source as well. You know, as soon as we judge someone, we're judging ourselves like we know, and we're cutting ourselves off from source. And then a beautiful thing that comes to me, what Chris laid out was, you can take judgment to curiosity. And I think that's a beautiful shift. But I'm still applying that one as we speak.
Yeah, Joe. What's important is to notice the patterns that what do you say that gets you to that would help others.
Yeah. Do you know when we're judging ourselves, could that be classed as cutting and reshaping or crushing the diamond? Is that our own way of doing it?
Tell me, say it again.
Like, do you know how we're talking about how ourselves and others will cut our diamond and pressurize our diamond? When we're judging ourselves and others, is that us self-cutting our own diamond? Or is it uncutting it? Or is it nothing at all like that?
My sense is that it keeps us from the center. If we call that the core and the good and the light, it'll keep us from the center if we don't. Meaning if we are judging, if we are not curious, like all the negative ones. That's what it seems like to me. And then as we move towards the positive, it's like we can begin to cut and sculpture and bring into focus the light, the beauty.
So yeah, using that judgment as a way to recognize I'm going in the wrong direction. Or not wrong direction, just not the best. For all concerned.
And like judging is comparing someone to your best.
Okay, judging is comparing someone to your best.
And in all reality, it's like most of it is in the worst moment, and it's like, well, I'm better than you in that moment, so here's my judge. And how does that help? I don't know. We sure think it does.
Yeah, there's no humility in there either.
So how do you define humility?
Empathy is another word for me. Meaning empathy for me is to put myself in their experience.
Yeah.
That's one. Humility.
For me, it's truth. Wholeness.
Humility would be lose oneself. The personal ego must be suppressed and replaced with the universal ego. The I must be forgotten. I had it. All men have it, and all pass through that stage. I once thought that greatness was the only thing worthwhile. But when I achieved it to some extent, I found that I was not satisfied with it because there was something beyond, so much higher, that all publicity and praise made me feel ashamed instead of proud. For I felt that there was so much farther to go than I had gone. It's he speaks it about our inner greatness, yeah. Universal ego, which universal ego is to everyone has their experience.
Yeah, it's all part of thinking that we're individual.
Yeah, that separate part at first, that's part of the, like that block is not part of the clay, the sculpture, the end result.
It helps me to realize what's temporary and what is eternal. So for me, it's an understanding of bringing the eternal part of me into a temporary experience.
And I think like putting attention on it, awareness that it is a moment, right? That it is a time, that it is a chemical reaction that is happening. And that is the truth of it. Two things. I don't think we're so much aware of it. I think we just roll with it, which is just a reaction rather than learning anything with it.
Yeah, and a realization that there's a part of you that's timeless.
Or if you don't believe that, what does that mean?
Yeah, oh, wow. yeah, exactly.
Well, if you're not that, then you're just this body.
Yeah, that has only one life. Only one kick at the can.
And the only thing that we know was yesterday, for certain. Meaning the past.
Wow. Yeah, that whole way of thinking requires the past. In other words, you can't live without it.
It's a foundation. It's a foundation. And oh my goodness, as soon as that foundation, if we look back, it's like something new. That whole foundation no longer exists with one little thing, huh? It is not a very sound foundation, as much as people think it is.
And there's a parable about a foolish man that built his house on the sand.
Mm-hmm.
That comes to mind. And the wise one built his house on a rock.
Mm-hmm. And they both had a choice. And yes, the past would inform the future situation or the moment to say build here or build there. Yeah. So much peace for what just lies ahead. Wow. Like knowing and anticipating. It's like, oh, there's a lesson. I'm curious, Joe, about what that lesson is going to be.
So my word for today was, or is, potential. And yeah, I just feel it's so, like, it's beyond my imagination what's possible with all of us, with everybody around the world. Like, I just see it like, it's just so
How do we
amazing.
see it? How do we see it?
Well, I actually like feel it more than see it.
Let's build it.
Yeah. And Joe, you helped me with that, like with your song. Like, first time I heard it, like my whole body was like vibrating
Mm-hmm. Mine too.
while I was painting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was just like, wow, you made my painting more enjoyable. So I thank you for that. Yeah, it's just amazing what we're becoming.
Becoming.
Potential. So we visualized, like we said, imagine the world. Well, let's do that. Let's create it. Imagine the world where what? Or realize our power. Allow our power. Become whole with our power, not separate from it. Learn the potential, the choices, start looking forward and say, leaning into what would I love? What do I choose? I have all the choice. And notice between the responding and the choice. Oh.
Yeah, and while I have you all here, I want to acknowledge you, Jesse, for talking about me in the Sunday call. that you wanted to ask me if I was agreeing with bringing it to the next level, so reaching a bigger audience with this work, and on my part is a big yes.
Mm.
I want to reach as many people as I can.
It's a great example of potential, man. And choice, right? It's aware of the choice so that people can accept or decline. Say yes, Nikki, you just need one yes, or choose to say your no.
Yeah.
Because no matter what, right, it's the going forward. It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. This is what it's. This is the new earth. This is the new earth. I had this visualization years ago, and I actually thought this was quite crazy. But sometimes you got to be crazy. You just got to be
Mine
crazy
too.
to think that I really believe that this is. And I verbalized it, and I said it to my cousin, and I said it to my nephew, because these are the two people that I know that I can speak to. And it was so unbelievable, profoundly, just like my brain is new plasticity. I told my sisters about a couple of years back, I was sitting on this sofa, well, it's a new sofa now, but I was sitting on my sofa, and when I heard that the brain is new plasticity, I thought, oh my God, I got a new brain. Immediately I called her. In Australia, she's in Australia. This is my second oldest sister. And, I said to her, our brain is new plasticity. We can remold and reshape our brain, our minds. We're not born with the brain we're born with, yeah? And she said, yeah. I said, yeah. And then we were going into this. And why I say this is that the visualization comes before the creation. It comes before,
God.
it comes in the mind. It comes in you to visualize it, to see it. This is why when Pascal says, I visualize it, it's so beautiful, because it's basically seeing the invisible to become the invisible. So this is where it starts. The imagination. When Jesse says, what do we see? How we see it? This and this and that. It's the imagination. This is the innocence. This is the innocence of the imagination as a child, because when you're a child, you have no filters. You have no fear. You trust. When your father, mother, or whoever says jump, you'll jump, because it's just a beautiful way of living. But because life takes, and we get through wounds, and we get through heartbreaks, and we get through struggles and everything like this, and blah, blah, blah. And then you realize you are the survivor, and you have survived, you haven't died. And you got to train your body all up again and say, okay, what am I choosing again? And open it up. And it's just all this experience. But this is the human journey. We're not going to escape it. It's the human journey.
So good. And what I've had some, I'm a visual, I do visual and feeling. So when I visualize it, there's so much power there. And what I find is those visions, meanings, or I'll always come back to that. It's not always, but when I do, it's such a reminder to be like, there's the truth. There's the truth, it's from my perspective. And the most recent one that was probably the most powerful was when the alone experience for me. That's the most recent, but it's connected. That one is connected to earlier versions. And then even like Craig, you said, it's even earlier, if it's all the way through time, it's that's a whole nother level to wrap my head around. My logical thinking scientific mind that knows it all.
It's not your mind that knows it, though. It's your superconscious.
And it
Contrary to how we've been trained, right?
exactly right. That's the misinformation that had it look at it differently, that separated it, had to separate it. Which is why our children are so confused. Not my
They
children.
say boys. Yeah, that's why they say boys don't cry, but they rather shoot bullets. They rather cry bullets. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oof.
Yeah, and we
That's
tell
why-
them like, yeah, don't feel, you know, like if you're crying, like, no, you know, we brush it away, right?
Mm.
Where do you think that goes? That goes internally. That's what you're carrying. That's what you're carrying that you haven't released.
Over and over and over.
And over and over. It's like a broken record. And there's nothing worse than a broken record. Trust me on this
Yeah.
one.
We call that being objective.
Mm. Oh, so
Yeah.
objective, aren't we? Aren't we so objective?
Oh, when
So objective. Yes, we are. I saw that. So objective. I saw your action. I know what that means. Wow.
I like living with the living now, not with the dead.
So yeah, the image I
I
got,
let go. What's that, Pascal?
the image I got with feeling is like, so we start digging a little bit the hole and then we stop. And then we dig a little bit and we stop. Instead than really going and going and going until we find that diamond. And that's not, the work is not done when you find the diamond. You have to bring it to the surface for people to see. But we're not going deeper enough to get that diamond and then bring it back to surface.
I think it also takes patience. The reason that people don't want to wait, they want it quick. And this is also another thing. It's the society we're living in. It's a microwave, in and out. You have to there's no waiting. And it's in the waiting, as Craig also said, the waiting is in the silence. It's being still and knowing that it's coming to pass. This is not just a theory. You can say it's being spontaneous, whatever, but it's the waiting part. The waiting for your baby to come. You can't race that. You have to do the full 9 months. It's not, you know what I mean? I'm talking that as the waiting period. But she knows she's having the baby because she's carrying it, but she hasn't had the baby. It's the waiting.
Yeah, and
Every
it looks like she's
semester.
doing nothing.
And it looks like she's
like
doing nothing, but that baby's growing. And it's
Yeah,
semester.
she's not doing anything.
Yeah, well, give her some slack, baby, because she's doing everything. She's giving you a whole human there, okay? So, and she's also letting you be a father. And I think that's the biggest gift a person can ever give somebody, is to be a father, right? As if you want to be a father, I'm saying, and you do. So it's a real best gift ever. I can say the best gift ever. But I wanted to say about the teapot. There's a little Chinese teapot. It was a little story where it had to be on a stand, and why that teapot right there and then, she couldn't understand that nobody, in a sense, wants to buy her. The reason is that every time she thought she was ready to be bought, she had to go through the fire. She had to reshape again and then come back on the stand. And then she thought it was time for her to be okay. Somebody is going to choose her. And then she had to go back into the fire and get, molded and shaped again and back into the stand. And it was going back and forth like this. You follow? And then not one day, but the day came when she was on the actual stand and she was ready, just absolutely. And that's the the beautiful part is just because you are the teapot, but you just get to reshape and be molded and go through the fire, and you think that that is now the end of you because you're just being burnt, you know, you're just being dumped and whatever scenario of disaster that you can imagine. But when you come back onto the stand, you better. So everything that one goes through, you realize it's actually for the better. Just like when Joe said, when I went back to my headmaster in junior school, he said, yeah, but Nikki, what happens if he said all those things that you wanted to hear? No, yeah, I actually now can look back and say all of those experiences brought me to where I am now. You know, this is who I am now. I've always been that teapot, but I had to be reshaped and molded and going back into the fire and get literally, you know, rejected, abandoned, abused, whatever, you know, we can go all on with the whole list here, but we're not doing that. I'm just saying I wouldn't be the person that I am today. This is authentic. This is powerful. This is your truth. This is when you can say, no matter what, like it or not, here I am. This is how you change, not the world, but yourself first, before you change the world. It's changing you. Not saying that you need to go into the depth of all your wrongs and no. It's right here looking within and saying, what can I make and do a difference to somebody else by my lifestyle? Because you can tell people all you want, but it's for them to see the example. And a lot of times, Craig and I have spoken about, a lot of times people have not seen love. They've not demonstrated love. They've not known what love is. They think love ice cream, love this, love that. It gets thrown around. But what is real love? Like truthfully love? Yeah, it needs to be demonstrated. And yeah, I had my friend yesterday, or day before, I think yesterday, or day before. I mean, just being in her presence just made me realize, oh, wow, you have been an example in my life, you know, because she demonstrated love for me. When I came to this country, I knew nobody. I went down to the basement gym. It's a dungeon, like a little dungy little thing at the basement. It was nothing. I came here in 9/11, so there was nothing here, not even a supermarket, nice supermarket, I mean, for what it's worth. And I went down and I said, you know, I'm just going to do the workout. And there she was. There she was. And she saw me. And then it was like, okay, we sort of, I just give an example, right? And then it was no words, it was just hi. And then the next day I went back and then she was there again. And then I was like, wow, yeah, hi. And then hi again. And then what came about, she said to me, she went down to make sure and hopefully that I was there. You follow? It was like a connection. She just knew, like she was talking about her intuition to me, how she just knew, and how she knew when I had my baby, I was by myself and it was really hard. And at that time, it was tough, you know. I wasn't sleeping. I was walking around, walking here like a zombie. I thought, oh my God. And it was her intuition, she said, that it was just her to come and literally like knock on my door and leave some food at my door because I didn't want help, because I felt I needed to do this by myself. I can do this by myself. This is all about me being now, you know, I have to do this by myself. I didn't, it was crazy. She said, you pushed me away. I said, really? She said, yeah, you pushed me away. And she was persistent. She just kept on coming back. And then one day I opened the door for her and I looked at her. She looked at me and she said, please let me in. I said, okay. I let it in. And I looked at her and I said to her, Joannie, I need your help. She said, absolutely. Like, yeah, go to bed. Just go to bed. I said, okay. I went to bed. I slept. I thought I slept for a few hours. She said, Nikki, you slept right through the night, like 24 hours. Like, she even took a day off work and she stayed with me. I woke up and I just felt like, wow, what has just happened? I'm alive. Like, I'm okay. You know, I'm not losing it. Thought I was losing it. You know that feeling? I actually, because I wasn't eating, I wasn't sleeping. Now, if you don't eat and you don't sleep, it's very bad two combinations. Very bad two combinations, especially for a woman that just had a baby. And I'm just saying, when you have a baby, you need help. And I'm just saying straight up, you need help. I don't care how strong you are. I don't care how independent you are. I don't care if you think that you can do this. A lot of things happen. Hormonal, everything. It's just a lot of things happen. You need help. You need to ask for help. And she did that for me. And she showed me her love for me in such a way that was nothing like, I need to do this for her now. Or, you know, because we always trade. We trade. We are trade. I trade my talents, and she trades her talents, and we don't ever put money to it, but we just exchange, you know, in that way, because it's just our friendship, you know. But why I say that, if I have to pay for her service, I pay for her service. Then you follow, because it's just that. It's a value that I value her, you know. It's a privilege for me to be able to be of service, but also to appreciate her service. But at that time, she saved my life. She saved my life. Yeah, she saved my life, right? And it was wonderful that we could talk about it, and how she was saying, you know, how she's going into her intuition and how she's feeling where she's staying. And she said she didn't even know about her neighbor, and her neighbor thought she was the helper. Reasons for, doesn't matter, you know, doesn't matter what she thought, but obviously she thought wrong. And she said to, right, okay. And then Joannie said she had this real deep concern for something of what she told me. And I said, wow, what did you do? And she said, I just told her. I just told her, well, this is, you know, I'm just told her. And then when she told her, the woman obviously didn't confess it, because for whatever reasons, she didn't want to be exposed. But she said, oh, after a few days later, she texted Annie back and said, wow, I don't know, like, where you got that information or how you knew that, but that is true. And from that day onwards, Annie said she's been such a good, like, doesn't want to leave her side, like, wants to just text her, be with her, invite her to parties and you know, neighborhood gatherings and all that, you know. You follow what I'm saying? It's like, so yeah, our talents are very important, but we have gifts that we have this. And I feel that when we get together like this, we can bring all our gifts to each other. And it's really a gift. And it's nothing that you need to ask for something, you know, it's just a gift. Because that's what a gift is. You give it just because you're giving it. You're not having any eternal motive of, oh, I'm going to get something back. Then that's not giving. You know, and what I love is the giving part. It's just you give because that's where your heart is. But I really, with Joannie, she demonstrated love to me. That's for sure. And her mother is the same. Her mother is exactly the same. Yeah. And that was like, she was like they were my family. They became my family immediately. I took them as my family. And when you have not demonstrated and not seen the love for what it is, it's very hard in the beginning to like get comfortable with it, because it's so like, it's a little strange, you know, to think, what is this, you know? I mean, you know, like it's nothing major. It was just that small but so significant of things that she did constantly through the year. And she said I did the same to her, but to have somebody like that constantly, just little by little, just knowing like what your needs were or what you needed at the time, you know, with no like asking, she just knew. And that, I said, that is your pure intuition. That is like, wow. And that's where we came to make a decision about her business, because she's been in a business for 12 years. And I've watched her from right from the beginning, starting this, I was a client, a first client, what I'm saying? It's like we went through it all together. But it's so beautiful to get to a place where you can know the love, real love for each other,
I mean, love. Think about all the baggage love has. All the baggage love has.
You got a spare dump truck?
Well, I mean, if you think of love as looking backwards or looking forwards, which one do we use it as?
Absolutely. That's it.
I think too often do we all look back as that's love, rather than looking forward to say, what is love?
And how can I be love?
That's right.
Or look back and say, oh, that wasn't it.
That too. And I thought it was.
Dude, and that, yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I hear that one.
That's a big one for me.
Well, so much of it is, it's like we create our reality, our version of what that is, and carry that with us. Ugh. And not look to update it. Mm-hmm. All of them, they only exist right in the moment of now. They exist only when we put attention on it and into it. And if not, then it falls back into the probability cloud of everything. Nothing and something.
Yeah, I'd like to lead you guys to maybe a meditation visualization. I guess, or for that.
Wonderful.
And the intention is maybe let go maybe like an emotion that you've been holding on for so long, but doesn't serve you anymore.
Name it at the world.
All right, sit comfortably.
Because,
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
let's just say, because we are that, so we'll do it here with you, and it's the intention is to circle the world.
Right. We're serving the world by doing this.
Yes.
All right, so I don't know if you guys are able, but you can sit laying down, close your eyes, and let's take 3 breaths together. Up through your nose, pause, and then release. So here you go. And notice how you feel now. Do you feel more relaxed? Now I want you to bring the color that resonates the most with you. And we're going to bring this color in up through her feet, all the way to the top of her head. And imagine the best you can, like it's like the water is rising from your feet up your ankle. And notice how you feel up your calf, up your knee, your thighs and hamstring, up the waist. And the more the water is rising, the lighter you feel. At this point, you might notice that like you barely feel your legs. And then the water is rising up your abdomen, torso, up your chest, to your neck. And when it gets to your neck, you notice that they also submerge your arms all the way to the fingertip. And I want you to trust me on this one, to bring the water up to the top of your head. And notice the calm in your body. When your whole body is submerged with the color, it resonates with you. Maybe you can take a couple big breaths to amplify this feeling. And feel lighter and lighter. And I want you to feel good. Notice how it feels good to not holding on to anything. Keep exploring your body. And I want you to find a spot that it feels a little bit more tense than anywhere else. that you had this ache and pain for a long time, and then you're ready to let it go. And notice how it feels. It might be achy. Is it like a sharp pain? Is it radiating pain? And let's breathe through it. Just imagine the best you can that you bring your nose where the pain is. And notice that maybe the pain is dissipating away. It's turning out to dust. Or maybe it's not. And that's totally okay. Just breathe through it. For people that notice that this pain is stagnant, doesn't want to move, let's bring in an external source, a very powerful one. But I really want you to feel that feeling that's attached to that pain. Really notice what you're getting. You might find an image. You might find a movie, a remembrance of that feeling. Because everything is stored. But remember, your intention was to let it go. So be gentle with your body. Be receptive. But now let's bring this force. And this force is a tornado. And it's so strong. It takes everything that you've been holding on, all your material stuff is going away. But you're so grounded. You're like a magnet through the earth. And this tornado cannot take you away. And you see like maybe your car is flying, your house, everything that you're holding on. But miraculously, nothing is touching you. You're more powerful than ever. And you're more grounded than ever. And it happens that you're talking to this consciousness of this tornado, that you're ready to let it go. To let go this feeling, emotion, this story that doesn't serve you anymore. That break the communication in you. and bring that tornado in. And the more like the tornado is going through your feeling, the more you're feeling it. And it's almost like two hands together that they're holding so tight, but then they're starting to slip away. And this tornado is taking that feeling that doesn't serve you anymore back to the universe. Now I want you to take 3 big breaths with me and notice how you feel. And notice that maybe you find there's a hole there. A pretty deep hole. And I want you to imagine the best you can to fill it up with whatever your desire in life. Would that be love or gratitude? Just let's fill that hole. Let's bring more love to yourself, more gratitude. And thank yourself for doing this deep work. Because most people are not willing to go in the dark to see the light. And take as long as you can to stay in this space. And notice how you feel. Because everything starts with a feeling. Thank you.
Thank you, Pascal. Wow. You know,
Yeah, you're
starting with a
welcome.
clean slate. Start with a clean slate. You know that, you know that phrase, start with a clean slate?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. Fresh, renewed.
Oh, I'd like to add a whole.
Oh. A new whole experience that people can receive every single time they listen to that meditation.
Fill in the whole.
Mm. Complete.
Mhm.
I also love the fact that learning to letting go, you know, the practical of it. Because I think that's one of the hardest things. Very hard. And you demonstrated it beautifully in this meditation.
And to know that it's okay, that
Yeah.
that it's, if you cannot remove it by yourself, then there's outside force. It can be your higher self. There's always guides around you, that you believe it or not.
And you can ask for help, you know.
Yeah, we've been guiding all our life, and it's almost like if you're not asking, then you're the master. So,
Mm.
and these workers are just like out of job. So that's why like intention is super powerful, because you say, I want this, I care of having this, then now the workers are working for you. But if you go in life and just like I was, I'm not gonna lie, just flowing, like not knowing that I was constructing my reality. I was doing everything unconsciously.
Mm.
So this work brought it to the surface and shine light on it. My awareness, my focus. And I have to be agreeing my body before doing this. I was like, all that mind chatter that, oh, how's it gonna turn out? Like, and like so much resistance. But then yesterday when I talked about Ali in my invitation, I spoke about that tornado, and I was like, I gotta make a meditation with it. I think like it's so powerful. Everybody knows the tornado, how powerful they are. But knowing that you're even more powerful.
Which is, we are the center of the storm.
Yeah, well said.
The center of the tornado is calm.
Yeah, and we can use it to our advantage or disadvantage.
Mm. You can stay in it and move, or you can get swept up to the sides and into the swirl, into the wobbles. And we do, we all do.
There's a difference between how cows and bulls react in tornadoes. The cows run away and end up being in the tornado for longer, but the bulls run to the center. They let that calmness pass, and then it's ended for them quickest. And that's the difference
Going
in
towards it.
running away and going into the center.
It's exhausting running away from that storm. And if you walk towards it, through it, on the other side, it's less. Same storm, just quicker. Great analogy, Joe. Pascal, Nikki, Craig. So I named this one 2 Ears, 1 Mouth Listening.
2 years, 1 mouth, what?
2 ears, 1 mouth listening. That's what we named that one today.
Mm.
Nikki inspired that one. And so now at the end of this, how would you give that meaning? How would you give it your passion, power, and purpose?
I'd just like to second Pascal's acknowledgement. Jess, thank you for creating, holding, and being in this space and dedicating and committing to it. And no matter what, showing up and being here. So thank you so much. You're helping beyond, we're all helping each other beyond we can even imagine. So thank you for following your hunch, creating this call. And to all you guys for being here, making it what it is. I'm forever grateful. So thank you so much, guys. All of you. I love you.
right, guys. Thank you.
Big love, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
You. Thank you so
Have-
much. It was
Have a
wonderful.
great day.
Thank you, everybody.
You
Today was
too.
awesome.
You too.
Bye for now.